The Center for Transparency Advocacy (CTA), in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Justice, has held stakeholder sensitization meeting on the Freedom of Information Act (FOIA).
When you have voted for people into office and you are not asking questions how they are running that office, reports, Abi, and because you are not asking, they will do whatever they want to do and you will be clapping for them. So there is a law in Nigeria that allows you, even as an individual, to ask questions. But you must know the kind of questions you will ask.
You are aware that the Act give power to the citizens of this country, not only this country, outside this country, to access government information and records. It is the citizen that voted this government into existence, and it is their right to know what the government is doing. The government of Nigeria is no longer interested in doing business in secrecy, and through the Act have given the citizens of this great country power to access government information and record without being asked the reason for the usage.
Mass enlightenment for public knowledge and understanding of the Freedom of Information Act beyond mere awareness. We need people to understand it.
The program, held in Awka, the Anambra State capital, is aimed at educating the participants on the importance of the Freedom of Information Act 2011 and how its application can help the citizens to hold leaders accountable at all times.
It is very, very apt. Why it is very apt is that Nigeria is a signatory to OGP, Open Government Partnership. And this Open Government Partnership is campaigning for transparency in the art of governance. And with the availability of the provisions of the Freedom of Information Act, the citizens are expected to access unhindered information about government and the projects that benefit the citizens.
I believe after today's program, we step it down for its effectiveness. So once again, I thank the organizers, I thank the participants. We all the lot by taking whatever they have asked us to do down to the grassroots.
We have been hearing about this FOIA, Freedom of Information, but its application is very, very important. Just like when we are in the primary or secondary school, I remember one of those schools I attended. Our motto there is knowledge is power. But there came a time we came to realize that knowledge is not power. It's the application of knowledge that is power. So that's why I'm glad that I'm part of this. I am the Ministry of Information. We are part of this program because we are on the point of implementing, applying the Freedom of Information.
Organized with the support of the Rule of Law and Anti-Corruption (ROLAC) program, with support from International IDEA and European Union, the interactive session, which lasted for several hours, highlighted the need for states, including Anambra State, to domesticate the FOI Act for effective implementation.
And I want to join CTA in even calling on the Anambra State government. Minister of Justice is time people started working on the framework to domesticate this Freedom of Information Act.
The Freedom of Information Act mandates ministries, departments, and agencies to be proactive in releasing information to the masses when the need arises. This conversation on utilization of FOIA, organized by CTA with the support of ROLAC, targets youths, women, and persons living with disabilities.
The Rule of Law and Anti-Corruption program
which we call ROLAC. It's a project funded by the European Union, but implemented by International IDEA, International Democracy for Electoral and Democratic Assistance. It is a Swedish consortium that took over from the British Council. Most of you here know us for working for the development services of the British Council. But we have over time again introduced IDEA. So I'm sure some of you again know very well what IDEA is and what we do, except for some few persons here. And then in their interest, it will be fitting if we say who we are and what we do. So International IDEA is seeking to contribute to the consolidation of various anti-corruption and rule of law reforms.
Quite an honor, great privilege for us to be involved in such a wonderful program which is dear to persons with disabilities. Now we know that persons with disabilities can inquire into certain governmental actions which include such things like millions of naira mapped out for education of persons with disabilities, or scholarship for students in school. Now we know that civil society or disability organizations can stand up and write to Minister of Education and say, we heard that in the budget there was such and such million for a scholarship for students with disabilities. Who and who we are paying for and how much was it? So we can now ask those questions, and we can't wait to sensitize the disability community to recognize and pursue their right under the freedom of information.
The Freedom of Information Act helps to strengthen accountability and good governance in Nigeria, and with ROLAC in 7 states of Nigeria. These initiatives by Center for Transparency Advocacy had 3 pilot states: Anambra, Edo, and Federal Capital Territory (FCT). Though the FOIA gives powers to citizens to have record and know what government is doing, its application is not applicable to some classified information and documents. While commending the Freedom of Information Act, the discussants requested that it should not be used as a tool to fight government and leaders unjustly.
There is a process which you follow, and you're supposed to get this information within 7 days. Exemption. Section 16, 11, 14, 17, and 26 of the Act makes provisions for categories of information exempted from disclosure. Certain categories of information, such as information on national security, law enforcement, trade secrets, and personal information, are exempted from access to citizens under the Act.
During the panel discussion, more insights came up on FOIA by the discussants. Participants also suggested the way forward. I'm suggesting more media engagements for effective communication to the people.
The media have made most sacrifice for the well-being and development of Nigeria.
The program climaxed with the unveiling of the Freedom of Information Act 2011 and its simplification, a 54-page book by Center for Transparency Advocacy in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Justice with the support of ROLAC.
So we want to thank you, we want to appreciate you, and we know that when you're invited again, you'll be here towards moving this nation forward.
FOIA Transparency Talk.